One time I was at a party, standing near the snack table, waiting for my friend to come back from the bathroom. He was gone for maybe 4 minutes. Normal amount of time. Nothing alarming, but those 4 minutes felt like 40 years. So I did what every human being on the planet does in that situation. I pulled out my phone and stared at it. I wasn't reading anything, I wasn't texting anyone, I was just holding a glowing rectangle in front of my face so I wouldn't have to make eye contact with a bowl of chips. And it worked. Nobody talked to me. I looked busy. I looked important. I looked like a guy who gets emails. I was not getting emails. But here's the question nobody actually stops to ask. Why? Why does an awkward moment, a silence, a gap, a situation with no clear exit, send every single one of us straight to the same small rectangle in our pocket? Why is it so automatic? Why is it so universal? That's what this video is about. Let's start with something your brain does quietly, constantly, without telling you. It hates uncertainty, not in a dramatic way, in a very low background hum kind of way. When a social situation becomes unpredictable, when you don't know what to say, when the silence stretches a beat too long, when you're standing near a chip bowl with nothing to do and no one to talk to, your brain registers that as a problem. Not danger, just discomfort. A small signal that says, this is unresolved. Fix it. And your brain wants to fix it fast. The fastest fix isn't to push through the awkwardness. It's to exit it. Cleanly. Quietly. Without anyone noticing. That's exactly what the phone does. The moment you pull it out, the uncertainty evaporates. You're no longer a person standing awkwardly at a party. You're a person with somewhere to be, something to check, a reason to be exactly where you are. The situation goes from unresolved to resolved in under 2 seconds. You didn't fix the awkwardness. You just stopped feeling it. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called a safety behavior. Something you do, consciously or not, to manage discomfort in a social situation. It gives you something to do with your hands, your eyes, your attention. It reduces anxiety without requiring you to actually address what's making you anxious. And the phone has become the single most universally accepted safety behavior in human history. Think about what that means. Billions of people, independently, without any coordination, have all landed on the exact same coping mechanism. You walk into an elevator with a stranger, phone's out. You run out of things to say at dinner, phone's out. You arrive somewhere early and don't know anyone, phone's out before you've even found a seat. We've built an entire social agreement around it. Staring at your phone is now a legitimate reason to not interact with another human being. It doesn't matter if your screen is off. It doesn't matter if you're scrolling through nothing. The phone signals unavailability, and everyone respects the signal. The trick works because everyone agrees to be fooled by it. But here's where it gets more interesting. It's not just awkwardness that triggers this. It's any moment of transition. Any half-second gap where your brain doesn't have clear instructions. You close a browser tab. Phone. You put the dishes away. Phone. You finish a sentence in a conversation, and both of you reach for your phones at the exact same moment. Neither of you acknowledges it. Neuroscientists call this a default behavior. When the brain isn't actively engaged in a task, it doesn't idle. It looks for something familiar to do. Something low effort, immediately rewarding, reliably stimulating. The phone is perfectly engineered for exactly this moment. It's always there, it always has something new, and it always delivers a small hit of novelty. A new notification, a new post, a new message, just often enough to keep you coming back. So your brain doesn't just reach for the phone when you're anxious. It reaches for it whenever there's nothing else competing for its attention. The phone has quietly become the default state, the place your mind goes when it has no other instructions. That's why you check it after you've already checked it and found nothing. 10 seconds pass. You check again. Nothing has changed, You were just here, you know this. And yet something in you thought, maybe this time. Maybe this time what? Nobody knows. But the brain is optimistic, and the phone is always there. Now add another person into the equation, and the whole thing gets more complicated. The most uncomfortable version of phone behavior isn't the solo scroll. It's what happens between two people who actually like each other, who came somewhere together, who chose to spend time together, and have quietly run out of things to say. Both phones come out, simultaneously, without discussion. And now neither of them wants to be the one who puts theirs down first. Because then you're just sitting there looking at the other person, waiting for them to finish whatever they're doing, and somehow that's worse than the silence ever was. So both people keep scrolling, two ships passing in the dark. Technically together, functionally alone. This is what makes phone behavior in social situations different from most other habits. It's not just personal, it's relational. The phone doesn't just help you manage your own discomfort. It becomes part of a negotiation between two people about how much presence they owe each other in any given moment. And most of the time, neither person says a word about it. If this video is making you feel seen in ways you weren't prepared for, hit subscribe. New videos every week. The algorithm appreciates it. And honestly, so do I. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. We talk about phone use like it's a discipline problem. Like if you just had a little more willpower, a little more self-awareness, you'd put it down and be present. But that framing misses what's actually happening. We built a device that contains everything. Every conversation, every piece of news, every distraction and comfort and piece of information humanity has ever produced. Then we put it in our pockets and made it the first thing we reach for in the morning and the last thing we touch at night. Of course we reach for it when we're uncomfortable. Of course it fills every gap, every silence, every unresolved moment our brain throws at us. That's not weakness. That's the device working exactly as designed. The phone doesn't just benefit from your discomfort. It was built to find it, meet it, and give you something faster and easier than pushing through it ever could be. Knowing that doesn't make the habit disappear, but it does change what the habit means. So the next time you're in an elevator, watching a stranger pretend to be busy, or you're sitting next to someone you like in total silence, or you've checked your phone 3 times in the last 2 minutes and found absolutely nothing, it's not a personal failing. It's your brain doing exactly what brains do, looking for resolution, avoiding discomfort, defaulting to the fastest exit available. The chips are still there. Your friend will be back from the bathroom eventually, and nobody wants to hear about the boat. That's the video. Leave a comment if you've ever used your phone to escape a situation you didn't know how to handle. Don't lie, because I know you have. Thanks for watching, and wear your seatbelt.